Vegas lights shine bright, Badboyz sitting pretty. Michael, Steve, Rob running things in Sin City. Podcast blazing truth, rhyming hard and witty. Three kings on the mic, Vegas life gets gritty. Matt Michaels dropping bombs quick with no filter. Sin City's own, blending gold with the silver. Steve taking notes, every word's a thriller. Rob's on the tracks, beats cold like a chiller. Badboyz a podcast, raw truth they broadcast. Speaking facts so fast, haters coming dead last. Las Vegas legends, three amigos top class. Mic in hand, setting fire, never outclassed.
Hey everybody, Matt Michaels and Sin City Steve here on the Vegas Badboyz of podcasting. Oh man, it has been one hell of a week, and we're just going to jump right into the big pay-per-view last night, AEW's Revolution, and let's start with the Hollywood ending and how it delivered. Man, this was quite a brutal, wonderful, epic way to finish this story. Steve, go ahead and start giving your opinions on what you thought about the match itself.
The thing that stood out to me was obviously the sheer barbarity of the match, but the fact that they crammed everything that they did into 12 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. 12 minutes they were given. So I don't know if time was cut or what the situation is. But yeah, they started off with a breakneck pace, used, virtually every type of weapon you could think of. And I'm not going to lie, I did not think that I would see a Taipei death match break out in the middle of the Hollywood ending. But here we are. Ian and Axel Rotten would have been proud. And not to mention the movie Kickboxer. We want to throw a Hollywood spin on it.
Right. And with all that, one of the biggest things that to me, the problem, the only problem with this is that should have been the finisher.
A lot of criticism online had said that that this match should have actually closed the show. Obviously, you have to figure a couple of things. If we're just basing it off of what happened in this match in a vacuum, absolutely. But one thing that everybody loves to forget is you're never going to have an AEW pay-per-view that's less than 4+ hours. Okay.
Right.
So let's be real for a second here. The main event, obviously, we'll talk about that. Trust me.
Yeah.
But I think that whichever match you would put in that final slot would have suffered a little bit from crowd fatigue, just because look at what came before it. Obviously, this match, you had a half-hour Kenny Omega match. You had a steel cage match where literally it was a real-life anime. These guys were trying to kill each other. And then, everything culminating in that final match slot with Mox and Copeland. Like I said, we'll talk about it later, but I think this match had a really good placement on the show. I love what they did, and seeing Tony Storm, put the final nail in the coffin, ending the story the way that it should have ended was perfect. This match ended perfectly. They even after the match they had the video walls that actually said the end. But even up to that, I have to throw this out there. Keep this one thing in mind, Matt. They beat each other with broken glass. They did all sorts of weapons. But if you look at it, the loudest reaction to a weapon shot was for a shoe.
Yeah.
And why was that? Because they built that up as being the symbolism for the feud. And again, got people emotionally attached to, in this case, a shoe, and it worked. So bravo, well done. I got to see where these two women go from here, though.
Hopefully they're separate ways.
Absolutely. But hopefully, hopefully Mariah May doesn't get lost in the shuffle. And obviously Tony Storm is going to need a new contender. So we'll see where things are.
Okay, so my problem then is this: is it finally over for Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher? So the problem here was again placement. Everything that story built for Tony Storm, everything that Mariah May did to lead up to that match, that's the problem. You had this match after a plunder match. Start the show off with this one. Also, you have a fucking steel cage. Don't use bats, maybe screwdrivers. Yeah. Use thumbtacks, maybe, a chair, maybe something like that. Don't have fucking Mark Davis come down and cut the fucking lock, and then Mark Davis has to bleed.
I was going to say, of all people, Mark Davis has to get juice too.
Right.
Yeah. Bang, bang.
Again, you got great reactions. You got great things here with it.
Styles clash, dick first onto thumbtacks.
On thumbtacks, using the barbed wire bat, and that's fucking, that's great. But in all honesty, what you should have done is had this match earlier on in the card, not a steel cage match. Strap match, falls count anywhere, I quit match, something like that. This should have been your next pay-per-view's main event. This is where he's getting this shit wrong. Finish this pay-per-view with Tony Storm. It ends the story. Great. Let Ospreay and Fletcher build one more so that they're the main event of the next pay-per-view, and that ends the story. And I think that you're leaving the crowd going home hungry for more at that point, leaving them with a pop, as opposed to, what we will get to in a second.
Yeah.
And again, it's nothing wrong with the plunder in the match, but you had two brutally extreme plunder matches on one card. To me, that's too much, because honestly, if I'm May and Storm, I'm kind of pissed, because you guys just took away from what we just put out there fucking 30, 40, 50 minutes ago. You had to go do that? Why? And the reason I say I'd be pissed is because it's the boys that are calling this, right? They're the ones who planned the match. Tony's, Khan's not going, this is what you guys are going to do, blah, blah, blah. They're going, this is what we're doing. So to me, that was the thing that kind of got me a little frustrated about it, is because of the fact that you didn't need to do that much plunder twice on a card. Save it. Fucking save it. And again, Ospreay and Fletcher has been a storyline. Stretch it out just a little bit more, especially because, you had that match, and that was just coming off of this match where Callis also fucking lost. And that was Omega winning the international championship. And that included.
Can I talk a little bit about Ospreay and Fletcher, please?
Yeah, please.
So before we jump into Omega and Takeshita, I think that one thing that has to be mentioned with this, that I did make note of, is so often we talk about weapons matches and plunder matches experiencing DR, diminished returns. The one thing that I will say is, if you look at the types of weapons that were used between the two matches, I think that there was very little overlay. So I think that basically both matches used steel chairs. In the women's match, you had the glass, you had, very, very minor weapons. You had a table shot, obviously, to end the match. But in the men's plunder match, They used the thumbtacks. They used the barbed wire. They used a different variety of weapons. I totally see your point that it could wear the audience out. But
right.
Yeah.
But the only problem I have with that is you're in a fucking steel cage. Use the goddamn fucking steel cage for that shit. You don't need to bring barbed wire into a steel cage. It's already fucking there.
Yeah, I completely agree, though, that the Mark Davis run-in didn't need to happen. I didn't need to see Mark Davis run in there. And most of all, I didn't need to see Mark Davis bleed. What the fuck? So, that was my only minor critique of that match. Oh, and by the way, dear God, they literally try to fucking kill each other. If say what you will about the Spanish fly off the top of the cage. Some people on the internet are raving about it, saying it was amazing. Some people are saying that it didn't need to happen and that you don't need to have, a major bump in a cage match. I can understand both points.
But here's the problem. You can. Absolutely. If you do the cage match like a cage match and don't use all the extra crap, to me, that invests me more into the brutality of what you're doing as a wrestler, as opposed to just busting each other open and bleeding for the camera. And again, this is something, if you go and watch a cage match at an independent show and you see the wrestlers bleed, a lot of times the crowd will not pop. Why? Because you can't visually see it. So cage matches are definitely bloodied for the TV aspect. That's great. If you're also using thumbtacks, barbed wire bats, screwdrivers, etc., a whole fucking bag that Mark Davis throws in. And by the way, learn how to use a fucking bolt cutter if you're going to do this, idiot. Fuck, dude. It's just like Ospreay standing there while he's trying to cut the fucking thing, and it's like, oh Jesus Christ, dude, you're ruining this match, and you don't even need to be here. And by the way, the other thing that pissed me off, Don Callis sitting out at he's on commentary, his guy's fucking being brutalized, and all I'm going to do is just talk about it. I'm not going to take my headset off. I'm not going to go get involved. I totally got involved in the Kenny Omega match, no problem. But this, I'm not going to. And that's another reason I would have spaced the two matches, is because you could have used him as a manager instead of just a broadcaster. Again, it's varied opinions. Obviously, these are just opinions. But a lot of it, again, has to do with my lack of confidence in Tony knowing what he's doing. The guys who get the credit are Ospreay and fucking Fletcher.
Yeah.
They made the match. But Tony...
Make no mistake, they fucking tore the house down.
Yes, absolutely.
And the ending to that match where you've got Fletcher in defiance yelling at Ospreay saying, fuck you, I fucking hate you, and then he gets his head taken off. We always point out, and I've actually done an over-under on the production of AEW. Sometimes they get things right. This was one of those instances where they got the visual reaction and the facials, and then immediately you see fucking Fletcher get his head taken off with that hidden blade. That was fucking great.
And then they fucking get the shot wrong on the pin. Where the final shot is like half the face of fucking Ospreay. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you just got this beautiful moment and you don't know where to fucking shoot the fucking... And that makes me mad too, because these guys, you learn, you're taught where you should be for your fucking camera shot.
Yeah.
And I don't know why the video crew can't get it sometimes, but again, it's again, nothing about the match or anything. It's just, again, it's preference in terms of double plunder. Like I said, to me, the Spanish fly becomes even more prevalent if there isn't all the plunder, because it really is and I'll talk about Raw later, but it's two guys beating the fuck out of each other in a cage. And if you are going to bleed, use the cage to fucking do it. Use it. I mean, that's what it's there for. Okay, Kenny Omega, you can talk a little bit about this because I really honestly, like I said, I was fucking bored.
So obviously the 26 minutes of heat or whatever it was, just working over the abdomen, I totally understand completely.
That's it. Not that it was a bad match. Don't get me wrong. But I think it was like 7:02 or something like that. One of the match was going to start, or 7:20, and I couldn't believe when I looked at the time. I'm like, what fucking time is this? Like, shorten it up. You said 12 minutes for, if you're going to give 12 minutes for that story to fucking finish, then this shouldn't have gotten all this time, because quite frankly, Okada looks like $1 million. Love the guy's look. This guy, I don't know, pudgy Japanese dude going against a god in Omega. I don't see how he goes, fucking 25 minutes, because, Omega should have now, again, I love the kidney spot over the table. That's great.
That was innovative.
Yeah, I thought that was great. And it told the story. Again, that was fucking smart. But, and Callis getting involved, maybe once. Do it once.
Right.
But timing wise, man, if you would have gave me a solid fucking 12 to 15, I would have probably been like, that match was fucking great.
Yeah.
And that's it. And again, that's my difference on how I view, when it's just going the other thing, and I don't know how you feel about this. Let me know how you feel about the fact that, as great as Kenny is, he's a great wrestler, and from what he's come through adversity wise, winning the title, okay, I kind of agree, but then I kind of disagree, because again, this is my problem with these EVPs. You come back, and now you're you've won a championship, but you were here, you were the champ, and you got to come back and win a secondary title over a guy who could probably use it a little bit more. So that's, again, just me.
I totally get you. The one thing that I will say is it's they planted the seeds when Omega first came back. We are going to get Okada versus Omega at All In Texas at their biggest show this year for what now looks like as if it could very well be a title unification match.
Right.
So do you just go ahead and merge the international and the continental championships together? And yes, for those of you keeping track of what the belt name will probably be, it will probably be the AEW Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, that's going to be coming soon. But no, the thing with Takeshita, man.
Wait, wouldn't it be the Intercontinental?
Intercontinental. Wow. Dude, God only knows. No one knows with this guy, man. But as far as Takeshita, he is genuinely just so fucking good in the ring. Honestly, I see them taking him out of, the international title scene and actually throw him into the TNT title scene. Have him go after Daniel Garcia. I know they've been, working with this Adam Cole feud. I'm using air quotes. But it's really done nothing for anybody involved. Adam Cole was on the fucking 0 hour. So he was on the pre-show, which, yeah.
And so was Daniel Garcia.
And so was Daniel Garcia. But ultimately, I would like for them to spin Takeshita out of this. And he and Kyle Fletcher can actually both ascend from where they were after these matches. But yeah, Takeshita will go on to compete for other championships. Omega, he will be facing Okada at All In. They'll unify those titles. So I see what they're doing. The chess pieces are moving into alignment, which is good. But yeah, man, 25 plus minutes of heat on Kenny Omega, just for him to come back in like the last 5 minutes of the match. I get it, I guess, but my God, you could have easily reallocated those minutes to Tony and Mariah. And, this show would have been actually better for that. Not that it was a bad show by any means.
Or you could have just gotten rid of the minutes. I mean, honestly, cut down the running time a little bit, because that was another thing I really had a problem with. It's like, oh Jesus, it's just still going. All right. Speaking of, oh Jesus, this is still going. What the fuck was this match? Jesus Christ. Okay, Edge, Moxley. Thoughts on the match first, and then I'm going to bring up Mr. Copeland.
So, in a vacuum, the match itself wasn't bad. It was a standard wrestling match. But the problem is that you've gone on after 2 blood sacrificial rituals, and plus a running time of about 5 hours at this point.
Yeah.
Moxley got to the ring at what, 11:30 Eastern time?
Well, so, he started walking to the ring at about 3 o'clock Eastern time.
Right, so. Exactly. What the fuck is that? Obviously, I guess that he's trying to emulate his boy Roman's entrance times. I mean, Roman Reigns has always had like 10, 12 minute entrances. I guess Mox is trying to do the same.
At least with Roman, that the match is about 10 minutes, maybe 15. Whereas Moxley, it's just like, oh, fucking end this.
And then they go and they fucking trade forearm shots for about 10 minutes. And okay, I get it, but this crowd was fucking dead for this match. Both of those guys, say what you will about whatever politics are at play or whatever you think might be the case. They should know to call audibles in the ring if they're not getting reactions that they want to get for certain spots. So why didn't they do that? This match was, it was funny. You mentioned to me how you were super bored with Takeshita and Omega. At first, when you said that in the text thread, I thought that you were talking about this match, because this match bored the fuck out of me. This match had no business going a half hour.
No.
Unbelievable. Can we please get the fucking title off of Moxley? Like, it's ridiculous at this point.
First, does he even have a title? First, I love the fact that there's no belt in there, because he's not traveling with the belt. That's the reason he did the briefcase. I don't want to travel with the fucking belt. You know that. B, Shivani even, he hit him with a briefcase or a belt or something. It was like, it's a briefcase, Tony. It's a fucking briefcase. He didn't hit him with the belt. It was the briefcase.
I thought you were going to throw out Tony Schiavone's other amazing line during that match, that it wasn't just a match, but it was a struggle. And I was like, yes. Yeah, Tony, it fucking sure as shit is. Good God. And then the fucking, I think part of the reason why the match was so dead, to be honest, is so they've been telling a story that nothing in this match is going to actually, we're not going to see finality in this match until we see a run-in from Wheeler fucking Yuta and a run-in from Jay White. So until that stuff happened, this crowd, they literally sat on their hands and didn't give 2 drops of piss about what these guys were doing.
And even the run-ins dropped, like it kind of fell flat.
They didn't even build suspense with the Yuta run. No. They just had him run in and okay, I'm just gonna fucking hit Copeland. What?
And then you had to have the announcers cover it and go, somehow he's under the trance and the spell of Macho. Shut the fuck up. But your run-in that gets the pop is Christian, because the fucking crowd, and this is why I say Tony Storm should have been the last match, because the crowd would have left hot. This was the problem with having Christian come in, sign the fucking contract. It becomes a 3-way. And what do you have him do? You have him job out to Moxley, and not even a fucking finisher, but a goddamn fucking tap out. What the fuck? You just blew it. And remind us, they have to remind us, he's had this since August.
Right.
Now it makes you look fucking stupid. Pissed
I agree.
me off.
Dude, you run a 25-minute match, and then you get the Christian run in. That's the thing that kills me, is they were already going for damn near a half hour. And then that's when you choose to pull the trigger with this Christian cash in. And obviously, you know, he gets tapped out to a bulldog choke. I'm not going to lie. I popped when Christian was in the bulldog choke, and he reaches out with one hand and covers Copeland with one hand. I would have fucking loved it if that would have been how the match was won. And Christian is your champion while he's unconscious in the fucking middle of the ring.
Absolutely. 100%.
But there were so many ways that they could have done this and made it work. And they found the absolute worst way to end this shit. It's unfathomable. You had a card. Now, mind you, some of the earlier shit in the show, you know, the tag title match was absolutely missable, but you had 3 great matches immediately before this, and then you just go and you piss it all away because the last thing that people see and remember is Moxley getting that fucking tap out. Dude, such a missed opportunity. Yes, you had the swerve run in after that, but I mean...
But the problem with the swerve run in at the end was 2 things. One, it was done to pop the hometown crowd. Okay, get it. They leave singing the swerve song after a shit match. Okay, make them happy. But you didn't even use your cameras to show Moxley on the fucking ground at all. You take him out with a dive, and then we never see the guy again. And we just see, it was like, oh, really? Come on. Come on.
What I loved about that whole sequence, though, Matt, was so they've had this whole story that they've been building with Marina Shafir being handcuffed to the briefcase and how no one would let that briefcase out of their sight. Yet Nana stops Moxley in the aisleway, points up, and what does Moxley do? He fucking hands the briefcase to security guard number 84.
Right.
Before obviously getting stomped on. What the fuck? Like,
and again,
what?
And this is something I talk about with Joe. You know, Joe was a big one at, you know, pulling this out for FSW, you know, when he sees this on his shows. And that is, again, you know, they're about to dive on you and you're waiting to catch them. And it's just like, oh God. All right. Now, all right. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Cope Hogan? All right. So couple points made this week. This is by Air Gold. Let's talk about Adam Cope Hogan. From 2020 to 2023, Edge wrestled 26 matches WWE, winning 18 of them. The only person he was pinned by more than once was Roman Reigns. Otherwise, he didn't put over Randy Orton, didn't put over Seth Rollins, didn't put over The Miz, AJ Styles, didn't put over anyone in Judgment Day, didn't put over Sheamus in his last match. In AEW, he's wrestled in 28 matches, losing only 5 times. The only person to pin him and get a decisive win over him is his best friend, Christian. And even then, they're tied 2-2 in AEW. The man is 51 years old. He's not wrestling to help the next generation. He's helping himself. Then this person, Diego Panama, said, Ricky Saints was right. Exposed Turnbuckle had a post that said, Adam Hogan Copeland back at it again, refusing to put over anyone in AEW. He had to get his buddy Christian to come in and take the fall for him tonight. Very excited to see who he's talking about when he says that he wants to put someone over and really elevate their career. But at this point, will defeating Cope even elevate your career? I don't see it how it possibly would. Also love how a man who was forced to retire due to a broken neck just brushed off a pile driver tonight like it was nothing. LOL. I mean, really, there's not much there that you can argue.
No, realistically, there's not. You know, You've got the stats to back it up, and that's the very, very interesting thing about all of this is numbers don't lie in any business that you're in, and the fact that the only person to actually get a decisive victory over him in AEW is Christian, which is somebody who isn't even an AEW original or an AEW homegrown star or somebody that's synonymous with AEW. So until he actually does start putting people over that are AEW, that are synonymous with AEW, it's Cope Hogan, man. And I love that Photoshop. That's dope.
So rest of the card here. Listen, I have a huge problem with Adam Page winning that match.
Really? Talk to me. I know we've already ran for about a half hour talking about this show, but
yeah,
what's up?
The problem is that what are you doing with him? And again, you sacrificed MJF to him. And the problem for me is what you just said, right? MJF, homegrown. Why is MJF not wrestling Adam Copeland, right? Why are you not taking the guys like that and elevating him more and making him even? No, you're putting him with Hangman and Adam Page, who, okay, he gets the win. What does this do for a guy who, again, we keep, it's like you just keep going in circles with him. It's like the same shit, the same shit, the same shit. And it's just frustrating because to me, this also was a quick feud, right? It wasn't. So you pinned him too, and it was again. If MJF's the heel, why did he not get a fucking heel win to further fuel Page into being this guy who's got? No, it was simply Chris Daniels bloodied himself backstage, so therefore I'm going to get my revenge on you. Like, you fucked up the camera shot. You trying to make me believe this shit, and yet you won't give MJF a fucking just a dirty ass pin, a fucking, pulling the fucking tights in front of the goddamn Rick Knox's face, and just allowing that heel to get more heat on him and make fucking Page a baby face then.
Yeah. And realistically, I believe that that's what they have done. It really wouldn't surprise me if Adam Page is not the one who challenges Moxley at Double or Nothing for the World Championship. And again, that's me assuming that they have Moxley go over Swerve, which, by the way, Swerve and Ricochet, it got lost in everything on this show. They had a great match. They had a great match early on in the show as well. Not to mention MJF and Hangman did too.
Two problems with, again, it's finish. Two problems with Swerve and Ricochet. One, the Prince Nana walkout bullshit and then come back and, dude, why?
Nana is probably going to end up turning on Swerve and costing him the world title against Moxley. That's realistically what's going to happen. So I get it. This act honestly has gotten a bit stale though, man. The Swerve and Nana act, yes, the crowd still reacts to it, but realistically, what are they reacting to? They're reacting to doing a dance.
And have them go with Ricochet then, have them. But the bigger problem for me on this was you're finally getting character out of Ricochet.
Hallelujah.
You're finally getting him to be a heel. And what do you have him do? You have him lose to Swerve. Now, not that it's a bad thing for Swerve, but you just killed the momentum. You had him legitimately lose this match again. And let's say you put the title on Edge. Then you could have had fucking Ricochet go over and go against the face. That would have made sense. And then if Ricochet loses that title match, great. You're building him up with, again, Copeland, who doesn't build up anyone. So, making sense out of stuff. But that's the one thing that frustrated me. As much as I love Swerve, you made him a number one contender. This was the other thing that hit me too. Hobbs was the number one contender. He got his match a week later and he got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
So are we going to see Swerve get the same treatment here? And it's like, did we just win the match for Moxley to now beat this guy?
Unfortunately, yes. Unless they pivot, which they need to do, but they've shown that they don't have the capability of doing.
Right.
I think that, we're going to see Moxley hold this title all the way up until All In Texas, where he will lose the championship. I'm calling it here, Will Ospreay. I could see Will Ospreay winning that championship from Moxley at All In Texas.
Unless the EVP gets involved and it's Hangman Page winning in Texas because it's Texas. Dude, I'm just saying.
Dude, and that's the thing is, realistically, I mentioned him at Double or Nothing in Arizona, but that could be the case as well. But I think that we're aligned on this. Someone needs to take that fucking championship off of Mox.
Right.
That needs to happen.
Mox needs to go away for a long while.
He does.
All right.
Take a vacation, bro.
Renee needs, Renee could use a little time off, a little southern, I don't know, like a Caribbean vacation or something, take her out, treat her. All right. Raw happened tonight, and a couple things on the show. Chad Gable was backstage interviewed, totally denied that he was the masked luchador in a Patriot mask.
Right.
Who attacked Rey Mysterio. Dude, funny as
awesome.
shit. It was fucking great. It was great. But apparently, Chad Gable has taken some luchador training from the master and is now going to be denying that he's the guy under the mask. And that guy should have been escorted out. That was great.
Mr. America Sky, Part 2.
Yeah, seriously. Io Sky in the middle of the ring between Bianca and Rhea, and Rhea shoves Io's face to kind of back her away, and then Bianca does the same thing to Io. So Io just says fuck it and slaps the shit really hard out of Rhea, and then really hard of Bianca because she's been disrespected. It looks like it's going to be a triple threat, which great. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I completely agree.
That's going to be fun. But the cage match main event, Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Fuck, dude. He suplexes him, off the cage. Then we get dead Punk from that. These guys beat the living shit out of each other. Again, this to me is how you do a cage match where you don't need the blood. Because again, every move was effective. Everything was done with intention. Every reasoning was done because these guys were goading each other on. And the commentators were selling the fact that these guys don't even want to pin. They didn't even try pinning each other. Almost the whole match. It was just beat the fuck out of each other. And then, come on, you want to leave the cage? Go leave the cage. Go ahead. Look, come on, I'm letting you leave the cage. Come on, you pussy. It was brilliant storytelling right up to the end where Seth had to go to sleep and then a curb stomp, and he turns, he could go out the cage. He turns, he's looking at, do I want to brutalize this guy more? And then all of a sudden you just see Seth, you hear the fans, by the way, Madison Square Garden was off the chains tonight. You hear the fans and you see Seth just get yanked out. It's Roman. Roman proceeds to beat the living piss out of him. Which was great. Then, after Roman has to get restrained, so he doesn't continue to beat the shit out of Seth, we see that, Paul Heyman now is in the middle of the ring out of nowhere, consoling Punk. And that was his reaction to that shit right there. And boy, oh boy, Roman came in. Look at it, fucking, Heyman got so scared. Then Roman takes out Punk, and we're left with the wise men cowering and Roman looking over Punk, and we now have a WrestleMania match that is going to be pretty fucking intense. Great match, and it shows when great wrestling minds work together to put matches together that make sense. Sometimes less is more. Andre Watson, great way to put it. Amazing way to put it. So that's just a little taste of what happened on Raw tonight. Again, they're setting things up for the WrestleMania season, which means that jumping back to SmackDown, LA Knight regains the U.S. title. Very solid match with Shinsuke. Again, Shinsuke doesn't get appreciated enough in terms of his ability to make guys look good, and he's doing a wonderful job. I got a feeling we're looking at maybe like a 6-man or an 8-man ladder match for the U.S. title, possibly.
Yeah, multi-man match sounds good. The one thing that I would mention as far as Nakamura, I saw some stuff on the internets. We all know how reliable that stuff is. Mr. Nakamura's contract is nearing its end, so hopefully, whether it's WWE or elsewhere, Shinsuke Nakamura can continue to be on TV because he is still a very entertaining character. And as you mentioned, he makes his opponents look great, regardless of who he is in there with. So absolutely.
Right. And also then on NXT this week, Shawn Spears wins the NXT North American Championship. That kid's face just made it for me. It was great. It was just like perfect. Again, great storytelling. D'Angelo family. Stacks. It looks like there's a little tension going to be between the underboss and the boss. That's going to be finally a great workup to kind of shake things up a little bit in there. Shawn Spears is holding a fucking title.
What?
Which is just something that it's crazy. Look at this picture, Steve.
Yep, exactly. That was something I was going to mention as well. It's almost like as if Shawn Spears has gotten his token title reign for defecting from AEW to WWE.
Right.
And obviously, I know Shawn Spears was in WWE first. I totally get that. I'm just making a point because it's extremely humorous to me just how well they've taken care of people that have left AEW to come to WWE. So with that being said, Ricky Saints should be NXT champion within the month.
I don't know within the month, but damn close. He's on fucking fire. But realistically, I gotta say, like I said, Shawn Spears to me, when he went to AEW, and honestly, when he went to the main roster on WWE, no personality, nothing. There was nothing. Now
you were not a fan of him when he was in AEW. I can definitely remember.
No, not at all. No, not at all. And when he went back to NXT, I was like, oh, great. Great.
Yep.
But all of a sudden now he's this kind of weird, kind of creepy, cultish leader of people who have fallen under his tutelage. There's something, at least something, let Shawn, have a little bit of, spotlight, a little bit of, experience with the title, but he transitions at some point to a trainer, right? It's like he's good enough to do that. And I think that's something that is valuable about him, is that for whatever you want to say about him on camera and his, does he have, charisma or whatever? He has a lot of knowledge he can pass on, and they're using that into his character, which is great. All right. So speaking of former AEW people, is there WWE backstage heat on Jade? This is pretty interesting here Jade Cargill reportedly has experienced some heat backstage within WWE. This is from Fightful Select. There was reportedly backstage confrontation involving WWE stars Jade Cargill and Shayna Baszler. The time frame for the incident was said to have been when Shayna and Zoe Stark wrestled against Jade and Bianca Belair in June of 24. When Fightful Select asked WWE talent about an incident between Jade and Shayna shortly after, Jade was written off television in November 24. Those in the locker room were quiet. Since then, it was claimed that Jade took issue with something that had unfolded, and word around the locker room was that Jade had said something to the effect that Shayna needed to learn how to work, but it was denied by people close to Jade. The incident was said to have stemmed from the Clash at the Castle match where Jade tapped out in what was not supposed to be the finish of the match. People close to Jade have claimed that she was more disappointed in herself with how things went down and was apologetic backstage. Jade's absence was also said to have been the subject of heat in the locker room. Talent had heard that Jade asked for the 2024 holiday tour off, but was told that it was mandatory. Jade and WWE claimed that she was injured, but multiple talent doubted the validity of the claim. Following Jade's return to WWE at the Elimination Chamber, she uploaded a promo video on March 2nd about demanding respect and being surrounded by wolves in the shape of women all around her. At least one talent in the locker room mentioned that this was taken personally by a number of talent as they kept the issue between Jade and Shayna quiet. Possible. But really, the honest answer is, how much does it really matter, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy that obviously, this entire situation has reached all links of the internet, and everybody wants to speculate. The biggest thing that I can mention is just the fact that the WWE women's roster is so massive at this point that while individual talents can make a legacy for themselves, and they can set themselves apart, just goes to show you, man, you can be replaced, and it is a privilege to be in WWE, and not to be taken lightly.
And Shayna, right? Honestly, if this was true,
right, of all people,
do you not think that Shayna would have fucking knocked her fucking block off?
Right, exactly.
So, it just, that's where I kind of go, I don't know how true this is. And
everybody wants to start shit and talk rumors and think that they know everything about everything.
And if this was Chris Van Vliet reporting this, I would say, you know what? There's probably a 99.9% chance this is valid. But it's Sean Ross Sapp. And so there is a 50-50 chance on this. And listen, I don't
shit.
And I don't put
it's either yes or no.
But like I'm saying, with Van Vliet, I would say it was almost positive that it was true. And the thing is that, to be honest, I think that, again, with guys like Sean Ross Sapp, guys like Meltzer, I think that some of the locker room likes to feed shit to him and just say, oh, hey, this is what's going on. Because if you fuck around with Baszler, if you really piss off Zoe, which is almost impossible to do, these are two people who could really take care of themselves, and you probably are not, going further with it. So I don't know what to think of it, but it was just interesting that kind of came out and exploded this week. But speaking of the women, and I think this is a really, really interesting one. Did having a baby cost Carmella her job? From Sportskeeda, this little quote from Carmella: "Let's have the conversations that women aren't having. Is it because I'm a woman? Because I had a baby? It's like I'm being punished for having a baby. It feels like a shitty way to end a 12-year career with the company." And that source was from the Barely Famous podcast. man, very interesting. Because it was like Carmella, out of sight, out of mind. Also, the shit that Corey went through
Yep.
a couple months ago now. So, I mean, could she be kept off of TV because of that? I don't know, but it brings up a valid point, and that is, does a woman having a baby effectively potentially hurt her career? What do you think, Steve? I mean,
So, I mean, realistically, it's going to take somebody out of the business, and I think that it definitely can have an impact on someone's status within the company. I think the most important thing is how WWE or whatever promotion it is chooses to reintroduce that character back into the fold. Um,
right.
I think that we've mentioned on so many numerous occasions that WWE has, it's almost an embarrassment of wealth in the women's division,
Right.
because they are loaded, not just on Raw, not just on SmackDown, not just on NXT, all across the board, in every grouping that WWE has. They have an amazing
Yeah.
women's wrestling roster.
Right.
So yeah, I think that ultimately what it comes down to is, unfortunately, and this is just being realistic in the situation, if you take yourself out of contention for a year at a time, yes, it can definitely have a major impact on your status within the company, because they have to heat your character all the way back up from zero again. And if they're, for whatever reason, not able to do that, then of course that can have long-standing issue. Not everybody can be somebody like a Becky Lynch, where you can leave, go off, have a child, and then come back and immediately be so over right out of the gate that
Right.
it's like you never left. And then obviously, now she's doing, whatever she'd like to do. I think that it really just puts more of an emphasis on how you are able to get over and how you are able to set yourself apart from every other person on that roster who is gunning for your spot.
I talked to a couple people that have some inside information, and apparently, what I've kind of picked up on is that there was a match she had shortly before she left to have a baby with Shayna Baszler, and apparently, people
So much
think
shit
that
involving Shayna.
apparently people think that the reason that she had a baby was to get out of the upcoming tour that they were having, so she didn't have to get in the ring with Shayna. See how this can easily play into
Exactly.
any scenario. Okay, so congratulations to Lex Luger, who is now a WWE Hall of Fame inductee. However, it's been met with shit like this from Real 88.8. So we're going to induct a murderer into WWE Hall of Fame, and his victim, Miss Elizabeth, still hasn't been inducted. Definitely a bad look, IMO. Okay, or LMO. Or whatever. Yeah, laughed my ass off with not a capital L, and it was a capital I.
IMO, in my opinion.
Oh, in my opinion.
Again, in my opinion, opinions are like assholes. Some of them smell worse than others. This is such case.
Again, and I kind of looked at some of the thread on this, and it really, the whole, remember, Elizabeth, she was using painkillers, mixing it with alcohol. Luger tried to intervene a little bit, apparently, allegedly. This is all alleged, of course. And then the comeback was by people about how, well, he beat her. And because he beat her, she had to get on painkillers, and then, of course, you have people, oh, next you're going to put in Benoit and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this is just so ridiculous how this shit gets out of control. quite honestly, I think a lot of people are kind of a little ticked. You saw Lex finally standing up. You saw the reason, that when Cody came in and told him he's getting inducted, he stood up. They had a big hug with him and DDP. You know, Lex has come out over the years and feels horrible for what happened to Elizabeth. And has always kind of blamed himself for not being able to do enough. So to rehash this shit and to take this moment in which is well overdue and to throw this in this guy's face is just absolute shit. And I think that was the point of even bringing this up, is to say, you know what, shut the fuck up. Yep. Let this guy have his moment. Is this the same people who would be saying, if Luger died and wasn't in the Hall of Fame and they put him in, oh, well, he should have been put in while he was still alive. Fuck you. All right. MJF, really quick here. MJF talked about his contract and watching other products this week. He spoke to Jimmy Chirina of Sports Illustrated in a largely character interview to promote the Revolution pay-per-view. He revealed some details of his new contract in the future while denying he's getting $15 million per year. It's been reported somewhere else that's what it was. He said the amount of money I get by the time the contract is over is far surpasses $15 million, adding that he is making top guy money in either AEW or WWE. He also addressed fans that are panicked they might never see him outside of AEW. I'm 28. Every single top act besides me is in their late 30s, 40s, or early 50s. He said, adding, by the time the contract is up, I will be absurdly young and make an absurd amount of money. Leading to 2024, MJF was leaning heavily into the bidding war of 2024 angle. And he said that he does have an age that's a definite out, a good age, a solid age when it comes to being a full-time wrestler. While declining to reveal what that is, he clarified it would mean he wouldn't be on weekly TV. Quote, it doesn't mean I can't come back to pop a crowd or pop the boys or sell some tickets or merch. That I don't think ever goes away if you love this business, he said. MJF was asked by John Cena's heel turn at the Elimination Chamber, and he said it was an awesome moment. He added that he gets annoyed when wrestlers from either company say they don't watch what the other is doing and are sheepish on answering, questioning how can someone say they are a student of the game and claim that they are the best if they don't do that. If you ask WWE star, have you been watching AEW, and they say no, one of two things is happening. One, they're lying through their fucking teeth, or two, they don't care enough about the industry to study what's going on. And also another quote from John Cena is a good friend of mine. I get really annoyed when people in either company pretend they don't. Let me put it this way. Yes, I was watching it. I was watching it live. It was an awesome moment, and everybody should think it was an awesome moment because it was point blank at a discussion. I think this is refreshing. I think he speaks his mind wonderfully. Again, if it's $15 million a year, good for you, because you just jobbed to Hangman Page.
Yeah, man. It honestly, it just goes to show that this tribalism that exists only exists online and among people that just love to stir shit. Realistically, the people within the business are watching the other shows. And as he mentioned, rightfully so, you should watch, everything so that you can better yourself and better what you put out. I'm all for this, man. I love Steve, that he was so candid.
Yeah. And Steve, the big thing, steal shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make it your own. Fuck yeah. That's what this business is. Okay. One final thing about TV programming this week. I I'm sitting watching this, and I just adore TNA sometimes. So Mustafa Ali demanded that Mike Santana take a drug test. So Santino's backstage and like, I'm sorry, I have to do this. It's the higher ups. I only have so much authority. You have to do this. He gives him the cup, right? Then we get a segment a little bit later where Mustafa Ali's like, this woman is like his chief cabinet, person. She's berating this extra backstage about how Mustafa likes his coffee with X amount of sugar and cream and blah blah blah. Don't fucking get it wrong again and that kind of shit. And Santana is about to go into the restroom for this drug test, and he's overseeing this. And she walks off, and this guy starts walking forward, and Mike goes, "Hey man, don't let anyone ever talk to you like that again. And don't worry about this. I got it." And we see Mike Santana look at the camera with the cup before he goes in the restroom. And Santana added the sugar to Mustafa's coffee. Later on, we see him drink the coffee right in front of the assistant. And she goes, he drinks it, and he gets this look on his face. And she goes, "Are you okay?" And he says, "Yeah." It was beautiful.
So the old William Regal angle, love it.
Exactly. You know what? I might be a 10-year-old boy. Drinking piss is pretty funny.
It's fucking funny. Unintentionally drinking piss at that.
Right.
Yes.
If it's straight up drinking piss, it's kind of weird.
And
I think it might also be. That's right. All right, here we go. All right, Steve, your AEW over-under of the week.
All right, so as of right now, AEW has 2 things announced for AEW Dynamite this week from Fresno, and neither one are a match. So yeah, that's pretty awesome there. Both segments that have been announced. One, MJF will speak following his loss to Hangman Page. And number 2, we'll hear from the new international champion, Kenny Omega, live. So here's where the over-under comes into play. I would put the number at .5. We will see at least one return or debut next week on Dynamite. And, if we're playing for the prop, it's got to be Speedball Mike Bailey comes out to interrupt Kenny Omega. That's what I could genuinely see happening. So yeah, give me that. And but regardless, we will see someone come back to the company that has been gone for a while, or somebody debuting and interrupting one of those one of those talking segments.
Yeah, and some of us will actually possibly see something like this happen at Collision on Saturday night. Steve, enjoy work.
Hey, thanks.
No problem. I'm so glad that I get to enjoy your product while you have to work. So
of course.
Well, let's take a break. All right, here we go. A little social media dump for this week. Some of the stuff that has made its way out to the internets. WrestleMania Sunday. WrestleMania Sunday falls on Easter and 420 this year. Everybody going to be lit, eating ham, watching John Cena do the 5-knuckle shuffle. Love that.
True.
How about this? Okay, Ric Flair and Vince Russo. Please, at the real Vince Russo, I thought we agreed that you wouldn't use my name to get a rating. I work for my great friend and employer, Tony Khan, who allows me to do things with my daughter and understands the importance of me being in attendance at events like the Hall of Fame. Vince replied, "Okay, Rick, next time I'm asked about my Mount Rushmore, I'll remember you told me I can't say your name. By the way, you think you can intro me to Tony? I don't want a job or anything. I'm just a mark for him." I mean, come on, man. It's Russo and Ric Flair in 2025 having beef.
In 2020 fucking 5, man. And especially because I do love how Russo threw that shit in there at the end, because how many times have people speculated online that the only reason why Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff have, such scathing things to say about AEW is that they were refused, when they solicited Tony Khan to work for them. Like it's crazy.
Speaking about working for Tony Khan, Ollie Marks posted this major loss for AEW as another star goes. PW Insider is reporting that Zach Knight is no longer with AEW. His contract recently expired. A 33-year-old who's the brother of Saraya had notable appearance in Ring of Honor and AEW. Notable appearances. I'm going to re-emphasize in Ring of Honor and AEW Rampage. He also wrestled under the name Zach Zodiac in the UK and was featured in the movie Fighting With My Family. His final AEW match took place in a dark match. Repeat, a dark match in June 2024.
Well, bro, you're also pulling that from the All Elite Marks Facebook account. So
holy shit.
Rampage got canceled. There was no time for Zach Zodiac anywhere on AEW TV, so it's time for him to go.
Oh man, WWE is so subtle. Look at this cool thing. So you had Bianca and Trinity, going in the white gear when they were going into the Elimination Chamber, and Jade came back in the black gear, and now you have Bianca and Naomi wearing the black gear in their appearances on TV, and she's wearing the white gear, which. I think that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, Bubba Ray this week had a couple things to say about CM Punk. He said, "I think he's a modern day legend. I don't even know if I can say legend. I mean, do you put CM Punk in the same conversation as Steve Austin? See, you got to think about it. It's not just an immediate yes. Interesting.
No,
interesting.
No, you don't put him in the same conversation as Steve Austin.
There we go. There's the definitive
recency bias does not apply."
And Bully Ray says, Travis Scott has one coming for injuring Cody Rhodes at the Elimination Chamber. Quote, Travis Scott deserves to have his mouth wired shut. It's when the mark in the ring all of a sudden decides that he's a pro wrestler and he knows what the heck he's doing. And the mark is Travis Scott. Scott decided he's going to look like some fake tough guy in front of the world. You got one coming, Travis. I hope it's from Cody Rhodes. If it's not from him, I hope I never run into you one day myself.
Jesus.
I kind of wouldn't mind seeing Bubba Ray run into him.
I mean, it could make for some interesting content for sure.
Absolutely. Speaking of interesting content, oh man, Dave Meltzer reported the plan was for John Cena's heel turn alongside The Rock to be saved for WrestleMania main event. However, the decision was made on the day of Elimination Chamber to do it there instead. Brian Growitz said 0 for 2.
I do love that shit when I see people that actually are in the know correct bullshit. So yes, obviously while I do I like a lot of Meltzer's stuff, I also like seeing him get called out on his bullshit too. Right. So I think that should be the standard for any journalist in any walk of life.
I agree. Here's a great little WrestleMania photo of Cody and they're all superheroed out in gimmicks. Of course, one is Peacemaker, seen as actual superhero, and then Cody looking like one of the boys there.
Homelander,
yeah. Fucking just a cool little mock-up. Love this one. Awesome. This is from Iron Sabbath 666. Cena didn't turn heel, guys. He just taught Cody a lesson for saying the F word in front of kids. What a great guy. And of course, Steve, you provided this one. Fuck them kids from John Cena on his towel. I love that. Okay. Now we're talking. This is very interesting. This guy Carlos Piedrio said on my last post, I said that CM Punk could probably turn heel and join heel John Cena and the final boss. Younger fans still haven't seen a heel CM Punk and how he can anger fans in his promos. Since he arrived back in WWE, he's in a strange position with fans and storylines that doesn't have a direct story to match, but he drops the real/old CM Punk promos in certain points, like on Monday Night Raw. When he first arrived in WWE, he said, "I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money, just like The Rock and Cena do." Interesting take. But I think this week's winner in the actual thing that's going to happen is this photo of Vince McMahon leaving with the WWE title at WrestleMania.
What the fuck, dude?
Oh my God. I love when all this speculation about, there's going to be another person and it's going to be this, that, or the other. And that photo, I mean, just wonderfully photoshopped, whoever fucking did the AI. This one, I was surprised. I'm sitting there, I'm watching Revolution, Steve, and I was stunned because I did not think that AEW would bring in a celebrity, let alone to wrestle, and not hype him up at all. I was fucking shocked that John C. Reilly made his debut in AEW this week. It was crazy. And for there you go. That's
Magic Man. Reilly.
Yep, doing his thing in Talladega Nights, and now apparently doing it in an AEW ring. Speaking of surprise, I was shocked when I saw that Sonya Deville actually debuted on AEW this week. She's going by Tetavik Hunanen now. Yeah, it was good to see her show up. Speaking of Sonya, interesting thing, Sonya Deville says Vince McMahon rented her a house and hired 24/7 armed security for her when she was being stalked. Nobody knows that. It was via Ariel's podcast. Very cool. Just a little thing to hear. Again,
and soon I'm sure we'll find out that there were hidden cameras installed in that house.
Possibly.
Knowing that it was Vince McMahon.
Yeah, possibly. Who knows? Johnny Ace probably had something to do with it too.
Obviously, allegedly.
This is not alleged. The Natural Disasters will be inducted into WWE Hall of Fame, so that's great, especially for Fred Ottman, who and long overdue for
absolutely
quick. So that's wonderful. This is a great mural. Hey yo, Halo's up. Scott Hall tribute to the bad guy. It's painted at the Wynwood Walls in North Miami, Florida. If you want to check that out, it's pretty freaking awesome. And this, my favorite tweet of the week, comes from Ron Killings posting a family reunion with at Cody Rhodes. One of the best pictures. Look at how happy Cody's daughter is. So happy. Brandy is so happy. Truth.
Everybody's so happy in that picture except Cody.
Look on his face. Oh my God. Just great. Some great shit. And speaking of great shit, thank you, JCW, the Juggalo Championship Wrestling, Gigolo Championship Wrestling, but totally different thing, for having us out here in Las Vegas this past Thursday. Some great matches, wonderful to see their TV tapings, just a fun time out there. Speaking of, here in Las Vegas, this was just announced, FSW Best of Series, The Art of Finesse, Chris Bay, will be premiering exclusively on Triller TV on March 15th. Joe says we are 2 weeks away from the benefit for Bay. Matches will be announced this week. Before the event, we'll be running the exclusive on Triller TV. Next Saturday, March 15th, we'll be premiering The Art of Finesse, Best of Chris Bay, featuring his matches with Solo Sikoa, who is, of course, set for Fatu here, in FSW land. Ice Williams, Brian Cage, the machine, of course. John Morrison from AEW now, of course, if you don't know who he is. Amazing Red and Karrion Kross, who is Kevin Cross here. And again, that is coming up here, the benefit for Bay, Sunday, March 23rd at 5 p.m. from the Silverton Casino here in Las Vegas. You can still get tickets now. And you can tune into Triller TV if you are not in the area. A huge amount of stars: Leo Rush, Swerve Strickland, Brian Cage, Karrion Kross, John Morrison, Rhino, Rich Swann, AJ Francis, The Rascals, Frankie Kazarian, Brooke Havoc, Ace Austin, Brittany Brooks, Kenny King, Danny Limelight, Jay Vidal, Matt Vandegrift, Ice Williams, and many others, going to be on this card. And some names that I've heard that haven't been announced yet. And very interesting because this is possibly one of the only shows being run on the independent scene that will literally have a mix of AEW, WWE, and TNA talent, along with guys who've been associated with AAA and other independent organizations. So it's going to be a great evening. That is going to, just really just kind of be a big thing for Chris Bay. And again, he's working day by day on, getting himself back from the paralyzation. Again, unfortunately, even though TNA might be covering the medical bills, you do have to make money to pay your rent and keep the electricity on and eat. So, these proceeds are going to be going to Chris to help in this time while he is getting back to being the ultimate finesser, which is just a fabulous thing. And no Rob tonight. Rob was, I believe, in the basement of a comedy club, and I believe this guy was watching him tonight, front row, and this was his reaction.
It's about right. Yeah.
Oh,
right.
John Lithgow.
Oh yeah,
just nail it every time. All right, final thoughts, Steve.
All right, thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all the stuff that you guys do. We appreciate each and every one of you. Also, very special thank you to all the brave men and women serving this country, whether you're doing it on lands, foreign or domestic. Thank you for doing what you do so that we can do what we love to do. And last but not least, repsports.com, reppsports.com. Go there for all your pre-workout, weight loss, and general energy needs. Repsports.com. Use promo code Vegas at checkout and save yourself 15%.
And a special shout out to, again, Tony Khan. You are an amazing booker. You are fabulous. I can't wait to potentially see you this Saturday at Collision here at the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas. And if I do, man, I will give you the biggest hug and just tell you, man, everything is great. You are just a spectacular man and human being. And I get a reward. Yay! Sucking cock and getting coke as a reward.
Jesus.
Love it. Oh, let's see Copeland get his balls kicked again here. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Dom. Love it.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Well, for this week, that's it. Remember to, just keep watching what's going on, because it's a big build-up. TNA on the 14th has a big show. We're going to see a lot of big matches. We're going to see a lot of big matches tomorrow night on NXT with Obafemi and Moose, and I believe Faxium is that tomorrow at the Garden that they're wrestling the Hardys, I believe. And then TNA's pay-per-view is coming up with Cora Jade and Masha Slamovich. So that is going to be just I don't know. What's the feeling? Ah, yeah. That's it. All right. For everyone out there, thank you for tuning in and joining in with us tonight. We appreciate every single last one of you. And as DJ Impact would say,
with that, everybody, thank you for hanging out. We'll do it all again next week. Till then, happy wrestling.
Rolling up the strip under neon lights. Podcast mics glowing in the desert nights. Matt Michaels leading with the swagger tight. Sin City Steve right by your side. Alright. Rob Butcher Larry dropping truths, no fear. Broadcasting stories, make it loud and clear. From the Fremont edges to the Bellagio sphere. These bad boys rule, let me make that clear. Vegas bad boys, tearing up the scene.
To Matt Michaels and the Vegas Boys of Podcasting, this is John Cena saying thank you so much